And I'm like, no, it's to protect a lesbian female space. You're in Old Compton Street. You don't want some fucking drunk straight dude getting.
It's true,
You have to have these policies. So I am pro female spaces because of that. And if it means that my presence is going to be threatening, what we've got to understand is, and Courtney talks about this in the interview, is men are a threat to women. Like, hello, the penis is a fucking threat.
Hello.
Hi guys, and welcome to 146 of the Tutus podcast. I am Nana.
And I'm Ron.
And together we are
Tutus.
She always does this. She always does a sing-songy. We have two special guests on the show. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
I'm
Listen,
Laura
ladies
Njoku. I'm Laura Njoku. Do I say anything specific?
Whatever you
Whatever you wanna say, yeah.
Whatever you want to say.
Oh, do you know what? I'm a multi-hyphenate. I do a lot of things. But that also involves kind of acting, fitness, and just being me, being out there, taking opportunities, and whatever comes my way, I delve into. But yeah, that's me.
Nice.
Yeah, and I'm Roman Manfredi. Thank you for having me and asking me to come along. I've just worked on a photography project, which is showing at the moment. It's called We Us, as you know.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Let's get into it, because you've been to the exhibition.
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance yet, but I will. But I've read the articles and I've seen the photos, and they're amazing, by the way. Just want to say the photos are amazing. And they're really like intimate. I love how they're just like intimate. I love how you chose to capture working class, masculine presenting, butch and stems. Because I think obviously I think it's just a group of people who are considered like sort of marginalized and not really thought about. So it was really, really amazing to see, and just that working class background, because we are working class too. So it's nice to see. But also, why other than that, why did you think it was important? Because I think for us, when we go around, we don't see like the older like queer lot. Obviously we go out clubbing, so we don't see them. So why did you think it was important to like capture specifically not just young people, but like the older ones as well?
I mean, I started out sort of thinking, that the younger generation kind of need a historical context.
Yeah.
And then I soon found out is that the older people need the younger people. So it really turned around for me during the actual making of the work. And I've just learned so much from young people. I mean, Laura particularly, I just find young people today that I've met, and particularly like Laura, Courtney, they're really on it in terms of, they're emotionally articulate. They, just stuff that I learned about relationships. I didn't know what love language was.
Do you know what your love language is?
And now I'm like, oh, that's why that didn't work. It was so simple.
Yeah.
It was so simple.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, and I think perhaps because of your access to, growing up with the internet and growing up with a lot of, different content that you can access a lot of actually from the US probably, particularly with the studs. And, it was absolutely a fascinating experience in terms of that. And they just laugh at me like some like old granddad type figure. And we had that day, we kind of spent,
half a day together. It was really good.
We went and bought your boxing shoes, and then we went to Starbucks and chatted for a long time.
Yeah.
You got me the parking spot with the next door neighbour from your parents' house. Everything was organised.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
So
That's nice because
particularly brilliant to work with.
Yeah, Laura's cool. I remember Laura from the Vauxhall scene. The first time
Oh my god,
Vauxhall,
girl.
a thing, the Babbages.
Yeah.
And I met you through a Rama.
Yes.
When it was Halloween, and you came as
a prisoner.
a prisoner.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I remember that.
She has.
Great memory, yeah.
Oh my god.
I remember. That's the first time I met you.
I'm shy.
Yeah, but I remember. But when I was reading the Vice article, in there, to me it seemed like maybe originally the idea came from when you were at Pride and the young person said there wasn't much representation and everything like that. And then you were saying for you and your girlfriend at the time was like, wow, this is really sad and everything. So then you've gone out to start this project. And I think including people from different ages and different backgrounds and everything like that, and then learning all the nuances and just how they move through society and how things are different. Even we're kind of the same, we're different at the same time. And I kind of feel like I saw that in the name We Us as well. It's like we're very similar. We're all like butch, masculine, presenting, stud, whatever you want to call it. But then us even embodies the fact that we all call each other something different as well. And so for me, I was thinking, how was it approaching a different generation? Because I think as masculine presenting people, stars, or whatever you want to call it, sometimes there's this wall sometimes in communications and how we speak to each other. And sometimes there's this weird like masculine dominance energy.
Yeah.
And people don't want to be like, no, people don't want to break down the walls and be nice, you know what I mean? Soft to each other. So like how are you present? How was it for you going to other people who are strangers, people that you don't know, and especially who are also masculine, have dominant energies, and getting them on board onto the project? How was that for you? Because it's generational, so you have to approach everyone differently.
Yeah.
Do you remember how you approached me?
She got someone else.
You see what
I mean? She got someone else to come up to.
No, yeah, because sometimes it can be a little bit daunting.
I'm,
like, do you know
I'm
what I
the
mean?
sort of person I wouldn't go up to a woman and ask for a phone number.
Yeah.
So that translates. You know what I mean? That's sort of like, oh, I don't know, how am I going to kind of approach this? I think most of it, I mean, is I've been trying to get people for years. So SJ is one of the studs from Manchester.
Yeah,
and
SJ rapper. SJ raps.
Yeah. And we've known each other since about 2015, 2016. I saw at SJ and it was like back of my mind. And we just kept in contact. And then it became time. So you have to do you have to be quite sort of persistent, but not pushy.
Yeah.
So that's, I've learned a lot from that process and just kind of being patient. I mean, especially like some of the older butchers, I really felt I was kind of having to drag them out from under a rock.
Yeah.
Because you found them and you know they're in there somewhere.
How did you find them?
You
know them already?
Come on.
Like, how did you find them?
Well, obviously, it would have been a lot easier to just get people that I knew in London, but I really did want a much more equal representation in terms of, it being a national project and it being 50% studs and 50% older and 50% younger. So I sort of did it in categories like younger studs, younger white, and then I only had sort of kind of certain spots. So that helped me sort of navigate who to approach, because I could have gone on and on and on. And it was much, much easier to find young studs than it was younger white butchers. And so what I learned was what I kind of suspected, is that we do live in two parallel realities. Obviously, you can't, I think a lot of like queer people, like white queer people, like just, live in a bit of a bubble. It's like, oh, it's just our queerness. But no, our identities are, affected by the rest of our lived experiences. You can't separate those things and just go, oh, we're all just happy under one rainbow unicorny thing. And it's not most people's realities, So the whole thing about, if people wore uniforms, I got them, asked them, can I photograph your new uniform, to just kind of represent, actually, no, we're out in the world doing different things. It's not just rainbows and unicorns just because we happen to be lesbians.
Yeah, all the glitter and all this. Yeah.
So, sorry, you asked me a question and I'll probably get round to answering.
No, yeah, we love it. Go for it.
So approaching people was different because young people are much more used to like selfies. So they're used to being in front of the camera in a different way. So the challenge for them, probably, I don't know what it was like for you, Laura, but certainly some of the others was like, oh, how do I pose without posing in a normal way that I would pose in front of, for my promote myself. So it was really, I just wanted to get people to be really present and really still and have open body languages, and so that intimacy experience could happen. That we are this kind of, we have got these kind of hard edges, but actually if you take away the performance of that and just put us in our environment, like where we grew up or where we're working, you're going to have a different experience of us.
Yeah.
Do you see what
that
I mean?
performance is really a thing.
I love that she said that as well,
Mhm.
because when I actually, it's just literally clocked in my head now, but when I think about my picture, don't know if you've seen it with the gloves, I am quite vulnerable, or I look quite vulnerable.
You look
in
quite
that.
open.
Yeah, and it's like the irony of being a boxer, but then I've let my guard down.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That's
and
true.
I'm just me, like just take me as I am kind of thing. And my first instinct probably was to put my hands up and pose like I'm strong and you know this masculine person. But in the end, I love the image that you've chosen because it shows the complete opposite of what the stereotype is or what conscious biases people have, you know. So that's literally just popped into my head now. But
Now that I'm thinking about it, everyone's pictures they were quite open. Now I think about it, everyone was like, they kind of looked relaxed and
very intimate
in the environment.
It was very intimate. But I read an article and it said you know, I've never wanted to be a man. I've always like wanted to be a woman, even though I might present this way. And I think that's so interesting. And so like I think for us, especially when we was growing up, we felt like we had to be these like hard body, like, you know, studs. And we were a bit confused for a while, you know, and we also had that bravado. And I liked what you said about like people talking to you, realizing that you're like gooey and soft inside, because I think that's important, because I think we've got a duality and that's still like being a woman. So that's really, really important. And I do feel like you captured that in the photos as well, like with the butch and the studs. I feel like you're able to see that there's a duality in those photos, and I think they're amazing.
Thank you. And I think what I have to bring that vulnerability in myself. So I talk about, you know, my stuff. And I think because I'm older and I've gone through a lot of that stuff of like walking into a bar and like, we've all been there. And this kind of thing with the masks is like we're in some kind of competition. And all of that. And, you know, we've all been there, and it's like, you know, I still get people like looking at me and giving me a dirty look, and I just smile back because obviously, you know, you know, we do go through those things. And so because I have been through those things, perhaps I can like bring a bit more of where I am now, you know, particularly as an older person, you know, you do get more vulnerable as you get older, and and also you're kind of, you know, less of a threat to society. And so that affords that makes you kind of be able to afford that vulnerability to be like that, because you're not constantly threatened by, you know, having to look sideways all the time. Are you okay? You know, especially if, you know, if you're with a femme and, you know, that outs them, that outs you, that makes them, but, you know, there's all those things that I used to have to think about like all the time. But
what was that like?
Just aren't there, like.
What was that like growing up in King's Cross at that time? And like, I'm assuming you presented how you present now.
No, I didn't.
You didn't?
No.
Tell us about that.
No, absolutely not. I mean, I definitely was trying to hide my my sexuality, and I hid behind hair. I think the thing about that time and that photograph for me was that was the time when it was the first time I was, you know, it was unisex clothing. So unisex clothing was suddenly there, and it was like, fuck, this is amazing. And so I was always trying to navigate a sort of a female masculinity that was, you know, even if I had to wear the skirt or the dress or whatever, I tried to do that in a more masculine way. So it was a constant, you know. And now, as I've gotten older, I don't have any of that. You know, it's I wear exactly, you know, I used to, not even that long ago, I'd be going to a family thing and I'd be thinking, are these brogues too chunky? Are they too? Because, you know, I get family members saying, your hair's too short. You know, I don't know what it's like for you. I come from an Italian background, and the first thing they all say is like, what you're looking like? You've lost weight, you're too skinny, you're too short, you look, you know, what are you doing? You know, that's kind of how we greet ourselves, each other. In our families, no, like real kind of polite.
It's the same.
It's the same. Right? An auntie will say, "Oh, you've added weight. Like, you know, you put on weight," and it's they just all like, you know, where's your husband, or why aren't you married, and all of that stuff.
Do you know how many times I have to tell? My sister lives in Ghana, and every year she messages me at least once to say, "Are you? Where's your husband?" And I have to remind her every year.
Yeah.
I'm gay.
Yeah.
Every single week. I was just like, oh yeah, okay.
It's the hope, innit?
Yeah, like they keep hanging on to that hope.
I don't know if it's hope. I don't know if it's just a default question that she feels like she has to ask every single time. I don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
Trust me, it's hope, because even to this day, like I remember it was last year, my mum was like, so if a nice guy came along, you know, and you liked him and he had a good job and he was good looking, and wouldn't you go for him? I was like, no, because I don't like men. Like, he's a man.
literally.
I don't like men.
Yeah.
So
Literally.
yeah, it's hard for them to wrap their heads around.
So when was it that you found that you were able to just present how you wanted to and just like walk into the world and just be that person?
I mean, really, to be myself, I did have to leave my family, and you know, I did make that choice, my sexuality over whatever
a lot of people,
that would be for them. It was around the early 90s. It was kind of there was like this resurgence of butch femme, and I used to work on building sites for a really long time, and I was working on this building site, and my mate was a tiler, and we had our overalls on, and and we both had ponytails, and she just came up to me and just went, are you butch? And I was like, yeah. I didn't really understand what it, I was like, yeah. I knew it was something masculine. And so for me, it's never been an academic thing in my head. It's like an energy. I relate to, and I can see the energies in people. And so I interpret it as that. And so like it was kind of from then, but then it took quite a long time for my mind to catch up with what I really looked like, because even I thought I looked much more masculine than I did, because I was trying to hide it internally, because I knew that it was kind of threatening and that it was dangerous. And so I thought I would be like, I'd be like drunk kissing my girlfriend in the street or something, and she'd be going, oh no, and I'd be going, it's fine, they'll think I'm a guy. And actually when I look back at the time, I didn't look like a guy. Do you see what I mean? So it's like that, the body and the mind. It's taken a long time for that to sort of merge.
What about you, for you, Laura? When would you say, cool, this is me, I'm comfortable, and fuck it, this is me? Do
you know what? It's funny you asked that, because I have always felt comfortable being who I am, but then it's the pressure from externals, society, family, friends, that made me question if I'm happy with my identity, right? And the moment I felt like I'm no longer going to take in what society are saying and I'm just going to be happy and live my truth was uni. But I think that was because I got out of a certain environment where, unfortunately, I was surrounded by people who didn't accept fully at that time. So when I lived my uni experience, I was like, yeah, this is me, loving life. And I say only recently, surprisingly, I've just said, F it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't really care. And I'm happy with who I am. And no opinion formed against me shall prosper. Like, that's
Amen.
You understand? Like, this is me. And it's so funny because just before we started the podcast, I was telling Roman about my recent experience in Nigeria. And I had a family member. I had a family member make a comment, pull me aside. And bear in mind, I don't really know him. He kind of knows my parents more than anything. And he was kind of like, oh, so, you finished university and studies? Like, yeah. You're working? I'm like, yeah. He's like, okay, so now you have to find a husband. I'm like, no. That's not how it's going to go. And my response, I was saying this to Roman, if this was maybe, let's say 2 years ago, I wouldn't have responded the way I did. Right. And what I said to him was, I really appreciate you, trying to have this conversation, but I'm actually very happy with the way I'm living my life right now. Yeah. And that's it.
That. It's the thing, I like that. There's no explaining yourself. It's just, this is who I am.
Who are you, first and foremost?
It's all, I'm not gonna lie, it's always the strange uncles. And auntie.
But just to kind of summarize on that point, I'm very happy with who I am now. But it was when I got to uni and I really escaped, I guess, a certain environment. Not to say the environment was bad, by the way. It was just, I didn't feel comfortable really.
It's a safety.
expressing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Do you know, I think
Yeah.
it's interesting in both your answers that it was come after an escape, after leaving something.
Gotta get out of there.
Yeah, and when I think about me as well, I would say it's the same thing. Like I had a group of friends who were my friends from like school, like secondary school and stuff, and these were friends I thought I would have forever, and they just ended up being very homophobic. And then I realized when I was around them, I was one person. When I was with my queer friends, I was another person. And they made a comment and said, one of them had a birthday party, and she just basically said, you know, when you come to my birthday, try not to wear gay clothes when you come to my birthday. Yeah. And this was somebody who I considered like a best friend, you know, it was meant to be a very close friend. And Rama actually said to me, these are not your friends. Like she just was like, these are not your friends.
Yeah.
And I was like, I had to really take that in because friends are a place of love, comfort, and acceptance.
100%.
And the acceptance and love wasn't there. You can't do all of that without love. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So all of that wasn't there. And I just, one day one of them said, you've changed too much, so we can't be your friend. And she was a spokesperson for all of them. And then I haven't spoken to any of them since.
Yeah.
And since that, I was able to be myself. And I think not only like presenting wise, but also just how I am as a person. I've just like seen myself grow a lot more. Yeah. And my confidence has grown, and I'm doing things that I wouldn't have done before because of people's thoughts were holding me back. Like, I don't think I would have a podcast if I was still friends with them, for example. Is that it was that deep. So it was after an escape as well. To see with you guys.
I get that. I think for me as well, it was like sort of the same. I remember going on holiday with some of my friends, and before we went, they were like, are you gonna leave your lesbian clothes at home? And it's just like, okay,
what's lesbian clothes though? Like
whatever. But it's just like, I think, you know, having people around you that accept you, it's just like, it's like amazing. It's amazing, and that's what you need, because sometimes your family's not gonna do that for you, and it's kind of like you really have to fight. Like you really have to get to a place where you accept yourself, and then you have to fight the people that say they love you into accepting you. And that's what I think I had to bully my family. Like I literally bullied them. Like, you're not gonna, you know. I remember being really scared to buy boxes. I went to Primark and I was really scared, and then I didn't buy it. So then I went with my ex, my girlfriend at the time. And then she made me feel more comfortable and confident in buying boxes. I remember going home, and then like my mum saw it, you know, and she told my sister, "Oh, Nana wants to be a boy," you know, and it's just like, no, I don't want to be a boy, but I like boxes. Like they're comfortable. Do you know what I mean? But it's a journey. It's a journey, and I think my journey in like presenting how I present now, it took a long while. I think I hid behind femininity a lot, because I felt like. I just, you know, you walking down the street, you feel like everyone's looking at you because you don't.
You know, they're not even looking.
And it's you, you know, it's you. So it's
no, because me and Nana were having a conversation yesterday talking about how the process for a lot of people is gradual. Because I was listening to Courtney's speech over the speaker at the exhibition, and she was kind of saying that how. That she was just a stud, like she cut off all her hair and everything like that. I remember I did the same thing. Mine was a bit gradual, but then I think at the point for me, like you said that, I think I felt more, I looked more butch than I actually looked. Because when I looked at pictures, I was like, no, I had pearl earrings on. And then I cut my hair off, and when that's when it was like, oh, okay. And I think Courtney was also saying that how when she cut all her hair off, then it was like boom into it. And I was telling Nana about it as well, and Nana was like, because Nana knew Courtney from the Vauxhall days as well, and you were just saying that how you feel like it was gradual.
I feel like it was,
but I think it's different how we see ourselves and our journeys and how everyone else sees it. Because you've known Courtney for a long time, you say, nah, actually, I think hers was gradual. She's saying hers was just boom, I'm there. So it's interesting to see. It's interesting.
It's definitely a journey.
Yeah. So Roman, when you were looking at the different models and everyone like that, what is it within their energy that you would say?
Sorry, can you say that again? When you're looking for different models and everyone. Oh yeah.
Would you call them models?
Subjects?
I call them participants.
Participants, yeah.
I really want to break down that subject thing.
Yeah. Participants is better. Because it's like, it makes them
I just feel like we
make
make the image together, and that's something that I learned from Zanelli Moholi, like speaking about, you know, we make the, you know, it's not there, and then they get put on the wall, and that's that. You know.
Yeah.
Participants.
So I
forgot my question.
What are you looking for?
Oh yeah, when you were getting everyone to participate with you and everything like that, what was it within their energy that you thought, yeah, this will be good for the project? Because I get it. Nana always says vibes don't lie. Nana always says it all the time. So what was it within the energy and vibe that you said, yeah, this person?
I think it's how people take up space, inhabit their bodies. I mean, obviously, I was observing Laura from a distance.
Yeah.
So where was that? Pride? Black Pride. Yeah.
And I was you were it was like one bar was like a big queue for the drinks, wasn't there? There was this one tent for the drinks.
Yeah.
And I could see you were just kind of almost at the thing, and then you were getting the drinks and you'd brought these drinks back, and it was how they inhabited their body. It was the body language. It was that was the vibe. And also, you know, I can kind of tell whether, you know, not everybody comes across well in the photo, you know, and I just picked, she like really stood out. And now today I've noticed, you know, she's telling me that she's got these kind of princely vibes and that actually a descendant of royalty.
You know what? That makes a bit of sense. Yeah. No,
and perhaps a confidence as well, because there's nothing worse than like turning up and somebody's like really like going, oh no, you know, somebody that, you know, I mean, obviously with the older ones, I did have to kind of coax them a little bit more. But I knew that I could get that, how they actually are in the world.
Yeah.
In front of the camera. So really I think it's that. I was just looking at that how they, you know, and there's a whole, like one of the walls, there's a whole series, the person I curated it with, Ingrid Pollard, she put a whole load of people together who were standing in what she called like really butch way, like with the arms down but a bit out.
Is that when you walk in on the right, that those ones?
No, on the left, on the back wall.
Oh, on the back wall. Okay, yeah.
There's somebody in their overalls, and you know, and there's a whole series of them all standing like with their arms slightly out.
Yeah.
And it's she said that she interpreted that as a kind of a strong look. These are strong people that lift things and that sort of thing.
No, but they were
doing physical manual work. You do stand differently. You do take up sort of different sort of space.
Yeah.
I know I certainly did. Now I'm just sitting in front of a computer all day. You know, I'm like, who am I now?
Yeah.
You know, because my identity was very wrapped up with what I did for a living, and it was very sexy being, you know, on those building sites with a load of guys and being dirty and being, you know, having a tough, hard day.
Yeah.
You know, and coming home, feel like dirty, and then you wash it all off.
They love it though. They love it. They actually love it. So why was it so important for you for it to kind of have a theme of working class butch women? Do you feel like the upper class ones are not going to give much of a story to us, or is it like what was that?
Yeah, I mean, just lack of representation. I think, especially when you look at butches, who have we got? You know, you've got a lot of those historical white lesbians were very privileged people who could afford to be masculine. You know, like the Radcliffe Halls and, you know, people like that. So who's got the loudest? Whose voices are heard as butchers and whose aren't? So that was my starting point. And because our experiences are often overlooked and not validated, because you know, because we value academic rhetoric, who actually ignore us, particularly studs. I couldn't find one academic article about studs. Nothing.
No.
So all of the stuff about female masculinity, all of these like professors and all of these really kind of like intelligent people, nobody. There's nothing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
There's
mean? And
nothing.
it's just like, hello. So, you know, you've noticed the bookshop there, maybe. The bookshop, we got stuff, tried to get stuff from butchers and studs and, you know, like other people who were, that was their identity, you know, their books, you know, to promote each other like that.
Yeah.
And I don't want academic books that ignore
experiences.
Studs. I just
I love
Yeah.
You know.
I love that how even like this, everything is just intentional with this exhibition, this project, and how you intentionally went out seeking, studs, because I think that a lot of the time the outside world might like group us together, even though we have like different experiences. But like also even the term stud, like I was reading up on the term stud and how it came from like slavery and stuff like that, and how it's now like a reclaimed word, because there's a lot of like stuff on TikTok about how like it's black masculine presenting that are usually called studs, and
Latin as well,
and there's a lot of like back and forth, so it's really nice that like it's intentional, that you picked that and you went out seeking it. I think that's really, really important, and just working class always overlooked, as I said. But for you, Laura, how was that being a participant? Like, did you feel like comfortable? Did you, because there's a camera. I feel like when there's a camera on you, sometimes it's just like a bit daunting.
Yeah, I didn't feel that, to be fair. I was excited for the actual project. So when Roman did eventually approach me, I was quite honoured, because how often do you get an opportunity like that to actually just be yourself in that kind of capacity? I was like, what? This project sounds amazing. I'm like, let's talk, like take my number and we'll chat about it. So being a part of the project was amazing. Like, for the first time in a long time, I felt like, oh my gosh, like I'm seen. Someone actually cares about me in like based on my identity, right? And I just thought, wow, this sounds amazing. So then doing the shoot in the studio, the boxing studio, that was again amazing. I was actually showcasing an interest of mine. And I felt very whole. I felt very whole, very complete. I mean, I had my tripod there that day. I was vlogging it, I was shadow boxing. I was just very excited and, just looking forward to the outcome of the project. And then we had the conversation in my old banger. And that was also amazing, because it really allowed me to reflect on where I've come from, reflect on how did I get here, which I've never done, and a lot of people probably haven't as well. So this was quite therapeutic for me as a process, just to really hone in on, who am I? Where have I come from? What's influenced my identity today? What experiences have I had that have shaped who I am? What am I currently doing now? Working in the security industry, how has that shaped who I am today? So I think in general, it just, it was very wholesome and very, it was a good opportunity to just accept myself and be like, do you know what? There's people out there who do accept you and love you for who you are. And this project is an amazing way to showcase that. So it was great. Really
I think it's nice that you've been able to accept just yourself, but it doesn't matter what other people, whether they do it. It's nice.
I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. It's really nice. And do you know, I did like the working class thing, because I've most of my career has been a bus driver. I've been a bus driver for most of my career. And and then I've been a railway worker as well. I just left that in lockdown. So that's like my background. And now I work at a plumbing company. And that's just me. I've just always worked in these kind of jobs and like these kind of like male dominated industries, and put on the uniforms and stuff like that. That's just always been me. So when I was looking around and I saw like a security guard and I saw someone in their overalls and all these things, that's representation I've never seen before. I've never seen that. Like even being a bus driver as well. There was Tyler, who's been on a podcast before. He's a trans man. I met him at work. And also there was an older butch lesbian who was also, she's drive the bus 56. But she was like so unapproachable. But she used to look at me every now and then and give me that I've got your back kind of look all the time. And I used to go home and just tell my girlfriend at the time, there's the grandmaster that works. She had my back. And it's like, these are jobs that we have. I don't know what it is, but these are the jobs that are, I guess maybe we feel like we can go to, and I don't have a degree or nothing like that. So I think for me, that these are just the jobs that are attainable for me. And, these are jobs I think I feel comfortable doing and all the rest of it. So it was nice to see that representation there, because I haven't seen it before. I haven't seen it. When we have representation, it's usually the same people.
Palatable people.
They're very palatable people, even if they are going to be butch or masculine presenting, it's a palatable kind. It doesn't have the energy that you were able to embody, like,
But do you know what's funny? And I think it's interesting, because I think that oftentimes in the media, I think the people that are looking for participants, they are afraid of people that are very masculine looking. I don't know if they feel threatened by it, but I think if they just approach them, they will find that they're non-threatening at all. Like it's just we're just like regular schmegular people. Like mask, like on that end of the spectrum, are regular schmegular people, but they always opt for the palatable. Every time.
Yeah. I don't know why. We don't bite.
You gotta ask them.
I mean, for me, it's all linked up with consumerism and what sells. And I love the fact that we're not marketable. And that's something that I really want to celebrate these things that we've been excluded from in a way, that we are outsiders. And that's a great thing, because I don't want to be some acceptable palatable. It's interesting what you say about the uniforms, because a lot of them, people that I spoke to, they kind of chose jobs that were like, well, as a mask, what can I actually do and be accepted? If I wear this uniforms, but uniforms particularly, like, especially because you can wear a male uniform. I mean, you talked about that, didn't you? I did,
yeah.
There is the blouse, and then there is the shirt.
There is. What's your skirt size? No trousers, please.
And so a lot of people kind of chose jobs based on their kind of maskness, if you like, and particularly with the security guards, some of the older ones. Well, also they felt like if they were to do some other job, like in an office, it's not just like getting hassle from men. It's that the fact that the straight women are going to feel like you're going to come onto them. So there's lots of things to navigate for us in the workplace, and it's not surprising that we do go into those jobs, like myself. On a it was like, well, how can I be and do? Plus, I had a bee in my bonnet. I was pissed off that men thought they were fucking superior because they could build a house and women couldn't.
I
think at work, I had a lot to prove.
There's only like, from what I know, three engineers at work who are women, and out of like 200 something, there's only three who are women. And then one's a plumber, one's an electrician, and I think it might be an apprentice. I don't even think she's like fully trained yet, but. Even that, like, they didn't really well. When people call in to, ask for them to come back to their properties, it's nice. I'm always like, it's going to her. It's going to her kind of thing. But it's true, because sometimes I wonder if I apply for this job in a financial whatever. Am I going to walk into the office and they're going to say no straight away? That's what I wonder. Am I going to sit in an interview and they're going to just look at me like, what has walked in here? Kind of thing. So it's the comfort. I think there's a safety, and just they give you the piece of paper and you take, all right, that's my collar size. And just keep it moving. Yeah. But it's nice. I think that's a nice,
It's true.
It's funny because currently, so I've worked my way up in my industry, and now I'm like, doing operations, and they currently want me on the DEI committee and all this stuff. But the real challenge is, how do we get more women into our industry? So if you think about engineers, it's the challenge really is, what can we do to appeal to women? Not make it seem so male dominated. And it's really tough, I'm not gonna lie, because there are these stereotypes. I was on a meeting the other day, this guy had just joined a team. Oh yeah, hi chaps, nice to meet you all. Hello. There are women on the call as well, do you know what I mean? Like, so this is a challenge that a lot of industries are facing, or male dominated industries, is how do we actually appeal to women and make it known that they are welcome? And it's quite it's something that I'm thinking about currently, is to how can I contribute to that, and make it known. But for me, security chose me. I didn't choose security. It kind of worked out anyway. Do you know what I mean?
Because you have other projects as well. You've got time and stuff.
Exactly.
What about, like, how is it for you in the film industry and like getting roles and stuff like that?
That's a good question. At the moment, I am getting roles from people seeing my other work. The work that I've done so far, a lot of them have been quite unique. So it's not like stereotypical characters and things like that, which is cool. So in terms of attracting work, it has been people just seeing my ability and liking what I'm doing and showing up. But I do find myself sometimes looking at, for example, if I was to get an audition or a script, and I look at the character, I do get certain thoughts like, should I just do it? You know, as art.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But if it goes against, I guess, my values or
Okay.
me as a person, I do find myself questioning it.
Yeah.
And if
Like, what kind of thing would you question? What would you say? I'm not doing that.
I would say anything that requires me to be extremely like promiscuous.
Oh, okay.
I'll be a bit like, ooh,
Yeah.
you know
what?
risky.
Someone asked me, if you were casted for a movie and you had to like kiss a man, would you do it?
Mm. But this is what I'm saying. Like, the thought would run through my head. Like, should I?
You're
I wouldn't
right.
think straight away. Oh yeah, like it's just acting. And for some people, that's a problem because as an actor, you should just go for it.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I'm really trying to be intentional with what I'm putting out.
Yeah,
You know, what I'm
Yeah.
participating in.
Mm-hmm.
And if I was to get that question, I'd be like,
Do you know?
I don't know.
Because there is a TV show out at the moment
yeah.
who has. I just want to say, I feel like she would be more mask if she wasn't an actress.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about?
I
Yeah,
know what
I
you're
feel
talking
like she would be more butch because her energy is all butch when you speak to her, but the way she presents is like she's holding on to femininity, somewhere in the middle, basically.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's because of the industry she works in. So she's in this TV show and like she's having an affair with a man, they're lip-syncing, they do all these sexual things. So that's why she asked me, so if you were her, would you do this? And I was just like, it's how much are they paying me? That's how much they pay me. Yeah.
Because on one hand, acting is acting.
It's
and
your
you
craft.
should be able to, you know, become
Yeah.
this character.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
On the second hand, I've watched some shows where there are queer actors playing, you know, straight you know, characters, and I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced.
like what kind of what show is there that you're not?
Then they haven't done a good job then.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
That's about the acting ability. Then.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
gonna put it down to that. I
But-
think you should be able to play whatever role, but
But I do find that me being masculine presenting, sometimes it can get in the way because I have to be vulnerable and let go of any, you know, angst or feelings that I have against, for example, men, you know, or whatever it is to deliver.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I am trying to let that guard down and just go with the flow. As long as it's in line with my values and it doesn't harm anybody,
Right.
I'll consider it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you feel like when Top Boy came out, you feel like I need to get on Top Boy? Because when Top Boy came out, I feel like all the masked actors must trying to get into this show.
There are very few, you know.
Yeah.
And then the person they picked wasn't a real mask in real life. They were just
Jasmine.
yeah. I mean, she's lovely, but you know, she's
It's so funny because I actually worked on the show and I spoke to her, and for me, Top Boy, there's nothing wrong with Top Boy at all. It's just not my type of project. But I see what you're saying, and the representation. I know the girl you're talking about. Yeah, could have done better, but hey ho. Yeah, I didn't really have a desire to want to be on the show. But I feel like they still did what they could with what they had. I just wish that there was more research behind understanding how to embody certain characters or that role or whatever it was. But it's okay because we're learning, you know?
Yeah, we are learning. I just feel like it was a missed opportunity. Again, the person has done a good job for the role.
Yeah.
However, I think it was a missed opportunity to get somebody who's actually a masked person in a mainstream TV show in the UK, because I don't think there is any.
And I agree with that because even now, like I've got a project called Silverback where, you know, I encompass a masculine presenting woman and it's different to what I've ever seen, you know, and unfortunately, obviously it's not really getting the push that it needs or whatever, but I want to see more of that diversity in characters and roles. But again,
no
we'll
funding is a big thing.
I'm
well, this is it.
You know, I be trying, but you know, there's no money. But like, Roman, did you see any like representation like on TV growing up, or just people like around? Like, because how did you find yourself? I mean, because I think for me, I didn't see people that looked like me. I didn't think I could be like queer when I was growing up. I was like, I only saw butches as well, so I thought, okay, like I can't be queer. So what was it like for you growing up and maybe not seeing people or seeing people?
Well, the first lesbian club I went to in London was the Gateways Club, which is like, you know, this kind of famous lesbian club. It was the only lesbian club in London. I ended up working there for a year, and it was still very butch femme. So I had, you know, like this kind of older butch that took me under their wing. And I think that was kind of part of the influence for this project as well, was just creating that space where older people, like we're kind of used to, you know, having done that. They don't need us. I didn't identify with it at the time. I just thought it looked old-fashioned. I did see it, but it wasn't attractive to me because I had a lot of butch phobia myself to work through and internalized butch phobia. And so I tried to not be that, you know, because that wasn't the acceptable thing. That was the thing that was, you know, abject. It was disgusting to, you know. And so the representations of female masculinity, we really, where are we? Orange is the new black. We're in prison. Working class, you know, people, you know, mass presenting people, white and black, you know, that's where we are, in prison, and we're like some mean fucker.
Or was it Snoop from The Wire was like this drug dealer? It's true. Even Top Boy, she's a drug dealer.
And that's why I mentioned Silverback, because it's just so different. You know, it's this young girl who's just come out of jail. Well, she's come out of jail. But her brother's died, and she's on this mission to find out, you know, who's stolen these antiques that he's owned and these gadgets that he had, and he was just doing such a good job being this neighborhood vigilante, and now it's all gone. And you know, that hunt, and it's just so different, so cool, you know, but you just don't see it on the mainstream yet. Not yet. It will come to
I mean,
fruition.
you know, if you know, you do get lesbians now, but they tend to be, you know, feminine and feminine, don't they? You know, I've never seen I mean, apart from the film Stud Life, I've never seen any representation of butch femme or stud femme.
No.
You know, so
I'm trying to think.
So we just stick to, you know, our own kind of groups, I guess, and areas, and, you know, people that we know and stuff like that. And so we do go through life with not having anything ourselves reflected back anywhere. Actually, I mean, do we? Like, certainly not in a positive way. I mean, when I grew up, there was KD Lang. When I was coming into like the early 90s, there was KD Lang, and KD Lang, you know, and then there was that Queen Latifah film. I mean, Queen Latifah's not even a mask. You know, not in real life. But we like to think.
You know what? I do think people have romanticized the idea that she is.
Do you know what? I think on her more chill days, because I've seen photos of her like with her wife on holiday or a basketball game, and it's more like giving chill. But I do feel like there's a, you know, maybe it's the energy. There's a bit, her energy is masked, but I feel like because she is a, you know, actor, rapper, she has this hiding behind the femme a bit. Do you know what I mean? There's a bit of hiding behind the femme.
Yeah. Do you know what? One thing I would say I do like about the exhibition is that you didn't water down what a butch. Because 100%. I mean, I think that we always have to be a little bit PC these days to include everybody and not to kind of offend people with how they choose to identify. So, for example, there's some people that turn around and say they're a stud. The person what I'm looking at is not a stud to me. But they're saying, oh dear, they say that they're a stud. And I feel like, do you know what? Let me use Dramac for example. Dramac, for example, uses the hashtag stud TikTok on her TikTok.
Oh, okay.
Right.
And they all came after her because she now said that she's not a stud, but she used to identify as a stud. She presents exactly the same, but she doesn't feel like she should use the word stud to describe herself anymore, which I think is fair. But she still uses the hashtag. But she used the hashtag to reach a certain community.
Sure.
That's the only reason. She doesn't use it as to say this is who I am. And they came for her for using that hashtag because she's not a stud.
Right.
And I just felt like everyone needs to just take a chill pill.
Yeah.
Like, it's just for the algorithm. That's the only reason why she did it.
Yeah.
However, even like, I think that I understand why she turned around and said she doesn't identify as a stud anymore, because I think we've just watered down the meaning too much.
Yeah.
So I think that she's seen it and realized, you know what? it's okay for a stud to be a stud. Just because
Yeah.
I'm a bit masked, it doesn't mean I need to identify as a stud
Exactly.
as well.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I just think, I'm just so appreciative that you didn't water down. Because
There's no binary way of identifying anyway. Like, do you know what I mean? It is quite fluid for a lot of people. So yeah.
I mean, what's interesting for me with getting to know where the younger generation are. Don't forget, we didn't have computers or phones or anything, you know, but like we used to stand in cold hallways with a phone plugged into the wall and, you know,
Yeah.
get off the phone.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, you know. I just don't know how we met each other or sort of organised anything now. It just seems bizarre. It was very, very word of mouth. But what I find in sort of today, so you've got a whole generation that's come up with branding and come up with, you know, there's a lot of individualism. It's a lot of like me and my identity. And, you know, it's sort of like, it's almost like sometimes people use identity like getting a tattoo. I'm going to have this tattoo and that's who I am. And it's that this is why my project's really focused on the lived experience, is how we, you know, with our cultural background, with our class background, with the job that we do. And it's really kind of, and Kin talks about this a lot in her interview, is it's not how you feel. Like when you're out on the street, it's how people perceive you. Right. And that is the shit that she gets as a stud, is like, well, when I'm out on the street, I'm perceived as a black man and that's what I'm getting treated as. So no matter whether I feel like anything inside, it's not the point. Do you know what I mean? And so I really wanted to focus on the lived experience. You know, that was one of the reasons that I did want to focus on that. You know? Yeah.
No, it's good. I was happy I didn't see like anyone that says that they're butch and was wearing makeup. Like, I don't know if they're gonna crucify me for saying that, but
I mean,
I just feel like if you're a stud, you shouldn't wear makeup. But anyway,
Oh, that's a whole different conversation.
But I'm not let's not get into it.
Wow. But that's, I mean, even me, that's the reason why I wouldn't call myself a stud. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Really?
No.
Okay.
I wouldn't call my, because I do feel like there is a space, that space should just be for studs. Or butches, or do you know what I mean? Like, and I don't consider myself. I'm on the spectrum of masculinity, and that's that's it.
That's
So
how
where
I
does
would.
that spectrum's go into studdom?
Stud them.
Stud them. Stud them.
That's a new term.
Stud them. Yeah.
That's just been coined. I feel like I think there's a spectrum of masculinity, and I think like at one end it's close to femininity, on the other end it's very
I agree.
You know, hard masculinity.
I agree,
and I'm somewhere in the middle, like happy as fuck. So you know,
I agree.
I think
I just feel like if you're on the side wear makeup, you should just
I
chill.
mean, I've got mascara on today.
It's
and,
okay to
you
wear
know,
makeup.
Like I'm just not gonna call myself
something
a stud because you know that's for them, that's their space. And that's fine. I don't want to intrude on that.
Yeah,
you know
I just feel like the people that they put in the media today, where they say that they're like masculine presenting or whatever like that, and they got a full beat on their face, and I'm seeing like eyeshadow. Just relax, babe. Like that, and I think that is what representation is today. Like, you know, when you talk about the branding and all this stuff, that's what it is. You know, it's not real lived experiences. Even a lot of them as well that do come forward wearing the full beat in the news articles or in their hashtag ads. That's not how they even represent in real life anyway. They're not on the street with the full beat
of makeup. Is true.
They're gonna think I hate full beat of makeup, but I just
You know, I think that was that whole important, is to celebrate being unmarketable, because that's kind of all we have, is to say that to society, because otherwise we're just going to get pulled into the consumerism, and then suddenly you got fucking stud t-shirts or butch t-shirts somewhere in Primark. You know what I mean?
It's true, literally.
This is what's happened as consumers. Is like, oh yeah, everyone can have that. Everyone can buy that t-shirt. Now queer has become this watered down palatable thing, and it's all like corporate rainbows and all this. So it's really kind of, I like the fact that I'm not part of that.
You putting it that way makes so much more sense. Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
100%.
I appreciate that now. 100%.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it like that.
You know, there's not that much space for rebellion in the society that we get. It's so controlled. You know, particularly right at this moment on every level, that there isn't a kind of space for rebellion. And I think just being ourselves, we can kind of do that. We can just say, well, we actually don't want to be that. You have the butches with the makeup or whatever you want to do, and that's fine. I mean, I don't. I think if a butch wants to wear, I haven't got a problem with that. It's kind of when people who don't have the lived experience of it just start
doing it,
taking it. It's like an appropriation, and I really do see queerness like today is a complete gentrification, and you can't separate like what's actually happening out there to what is. We bring that in as well to queer life, to the point where I don't even want to call myself queer now because of what it's become, like anything and everyone, and just all this. You can be a straight person, but if you've got coloured hair and say you're queer, then somehow, there's also a culture of victimhood that goes along with these identities, and it just seems to me that there's often it's almost a competitiveness as who can be the most victim, and you've got these fucking privileged people whitewashing over their privilege and saying, oh, but I'm queer and I'm vulnerable and I'm a victim, and it just, frankly, don't get me started.
It's oppression Olympics. It's oppression Olympics. It's oppression Olympics for me. And do you know what? The ones on social media, they love it. They just love it. They absolutely love it. But Roman, what is next? What can we expect next? Actually, before we get there, what is something that you didn't expect to learn from the project that you learned?
I think what I said before really about it just really gave me the opportunity to hang out with people like Laura and maintain, the connections and, and just learning what is the experience of young people, particularly in their relationships and having healthy communication. I mean, when you talked about, I think it was you that talked about, we acknowledge, this is me coming from my trauma. And was that you? Was that, maybe it might have been Courtney? Yeah.
That's such a
real incredible
mellow thing to say.
And I was like, oh my God, you're in your 20s and 30s. And I'm like, wow, I think just that the level of honesty and learning about your relationships, healthy relationships with each other. I think that was kind of the main thing. And also like, it just kind of confirmed what I suspected, was that studs and young Black mass presenting people are doing stuff like this. Butches aren't. They're just confused. Like, where are we? Who are we? And it's sort of like, that was really incredible to see, beautiful to see. And like the whole, the Birmingham studs that I got to know are just like, and they're not calling them stud events, but the bruckouts and the stuff that's happening in the brunches, all the things that they're kind of proactively organising
they have loads
their own thing.
in Birmingham,
and it's I just feel like it's really providing a lot of food for people to be able to just kind of go and hang out and have a good time together. And I think that's kind of what I learned is how proactive, and I'm pissed off that this is in terms of white queer scene, it's like an invisible, it's not even acknowledged. Do you know what I mean? And maybe that's all right. Maybe you would rather we weren't fucking involved. Maybe you would rather that you're like, I don't know. I mean, what do you think?
Do you know what's interesting? I came on the podcast one time a couple of weeks ago and said I was going past what's it called again? The Lesbian Club. What's it called in Soho?
She Bar.
Just going past She Bar. Every time I go there, they don't let me in. But they don't say why. They just don't let me in. They don't let you in as well. And after I said it on the podcast, I tweeted it. And now they have an R&B and hip hop and dancehall.
So what do you think it was?
It started about a month ago on a Thursday or Wednesday. They have that night now. And because I said that I think it's racism or whatever. Because I remember it was this very butch person on the door, security guard.
Yeah.
And till this day, she's still on the phone. Because I was waiting for her. She was like, 1 second, I'm on the phone. And she didn't even say anything. She just... What? And we stood there for like 10 minutes. And then...
White person?
Yeah. And I was on a date with somebody and I said to the girl, I don't think she's getting off the phone. She's not even I said, let's just go. But it was a bet anyway. I said, let's bet and see if we can even get in. And it was like the second or third time I didn't get in. There was always some sort of excuse. Just going down Soho in general. Like I had a friend who came from Atlanta.
Yeah.
And obviously Atlanta is like gay mecca. Like every day they go out, there's something for queer people to do.
Yeah.
So she was like, okay, let's go out. And I was like, well, as a black queer person, there has to be a night put on already. Like me and Nana put on events as well.
Yeah.
And there has to be a night that we're specifically going to. And we can't just get up and say we're going to this night and hear music we want to listen to. So she was like, no, let's just go. Okay, we'll go Soho then. Soho's the place. We've gone to Soho. We've gone to like most of the clubs in Soho, and they all said no. And then so me and the other masculine person, we stood back and we said, okay, you femmes, you try and get in, and then let's see if you get in. They got in without us, and then they came back to get us afterwards. And we were just like, what was that about? There's so many layers. There's the fact that we're black, the fact that we're masked. There's just so many layers to it as to why we didn't get in. And I think one of us said something about racism. As soon as we said the R word, the manager came, oh, no. It's just that, it was a company hired out the venue tonight, and that was the reason. So we went in there, we saw someone we knew, and said, was it a company? He was like, no, babe.
I'm sure that's disgusting.
Yeah,
that's really, really disgusting.
Yeah,
I'm glad I've never had that
disgusting.
experience before. Because
but even like our events, we had a white woman who I think she saw us at a talk or something, and then she followed us on social media, and she was like, she asked us if she could come to our event, and it was just like, yes, you can, like, and she came and she's just like, she just loved it, she just enjoyed it, but it was so nice. It's like, it's not like we don't want anyone else coming, do you know what I mean? But it's just like a space that we put on because there aren't any other spaces for us to go to.
Exactly.
That's it,
and the music's just fucking shit. The reason I didn't get in was a different reason, obviously. And there was a woman, and I think, she looked like she hadn't been doing the job long, a security woman, and she just, I was with two friends. One of them was a stud from the project, Lynette, my mate from Preston.
Oh yeah,
her wife is a young white American woman. So I'm standing in the queue with them, and she comes up and she said, "You need another woman to be able to get in." And I was like, "Huh?"
At Sheba?
Yeah. And so they've perceived me as male, and I like, of course, look. If you're going to look like this,
it happens.
Shock.
Yeah, it happens.
You know what I mean? You're going to look like this, and people are going to, you can see this old kind of grey hair, this old dude. And so I always just am polite about it. I don't expect, of course, I understand that. But with like Lynette, tall, and she was perceived as a woman, so that was okay. And I just said, first of all, I was like, what? And we ended up getting into quite a heated discussion with my friends because Lynette's wife felt that it was gender discrimination, and that what if I was a trans guy, and I'm like, no, it's to protect a lesbian female space. You're in Old Compton Street, you don't want some fucking drunk straight dude getting.
It's true.
You have to have these policies. So I am pro female spaces because of that, and if it means that my presence is going to be threatening, what we've got to understand is, and Courtney talks about this in the interview, is men are a threat to women. Like, hello, the penis is a fucking threat. And especially like in toilets. I mean, I was looking up a sex offenders list, and a lot of the assaults that go on are men attacking women in women's toilets. And so, we need to sort of take on board what the situation is like for women. And perhaps, I think there's a difference when somebody like misgenders you on purpose, or they're looking down at you like, get out of that, you can kind of tell the difference. But sometimes when they're not looking, and I just make a joke of it. I mean, I did have this kind of old auntie, she was in there with her shopping trolley one day, and she was like, this is the women's toilet, and I just went, yeah, it's cleaner in here, and I thank you. And
that is a good one.
It's just the kind of a way. So in the end, we ended up, and I was the person that wasn't let into the club, but I was pro that because good.
Yeah,
for safety.
And in the end, they came and they apologized and let us all in for free. So it was all right. And then when I got there, I wish I'd wasn't there.
Yeah.
Like 5 minutes later.
Nah,
It was
She Boy is
awful.
rubbish. I'm not gonna lie. It is a bit rubbish. I wonder what that Thursday night is like. But it is. And they had a refurb as well. I thought we'd be better off the refurb.
Well,
But anyway, no.
There you go.
It's still rubbish. But yeah, so what is next for you? What's happening next? When does the project actually close? A lot of people messaged me yesterday and they were just like, oh, we didn't know about
took a while,
this.
yeah.
Like, yeah.
It's until June the 3rd. It's only on from Wednesday to Saturday. What's next is I'm trying now. I'm starting to think about trying to get a book out there, which is proving very, very difficult because it's so niche. So publishers don't really want to take it on.
Really?
Plus, since the pandemic, paper's gone up enormously.
Right.
And obviously, I don't want a photo book that's going to be elitist and then it's good. You know,
one's
you have
gonna be
to
able to
charge
afford it,
50
yeah.
quid. Do you
Yeah.
see what I mean? But also, I want to kind of retain, because I put a lot of effort into getting it printed, you know, really well and getting it beautifully framed and for us to have the best. Do you know what I mean? So we've got the best. You know, you see it at any picture in a museum, we've got that.
Yeah.
We're the
Yeah.
same.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
true.
yeah, yeah.
I can say I've seen it.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, I mean, to have them printed and framed cost over £20,000.
Wow.
For all of them.
Yeah, and so, you know, luckily, obviously, that was Arts Council funded. But with a book, it's kind of different because they don't fund books, and so I'm going to have to do either a crowdfunder or if I get people to pre-order. But I'm starting to look into that now. So that's everything that I've done is a new area for me.
Yeah.
So I've just learned about photography, about photographing people, about the printing, about shooting on film, about a camera, and now I'm learning, you know, how to organize a project, because when you go for Arts Council funding, you have to know how many microphones you're going to be using. You have to cost everything. So because that process, it turns you into a project manager without you even realizing and knowing exactly everything what's going on. And so I'm now in that learning process about, well, how do I get a book out there? So I'm, you know, I'm putting it all out there, and it's just the same thing. It's kind of like, you know, if you ask 20 women out, one will say yes, maybe. Do you know what I mean? And so I've got that attitude, just kind of do the action and let's just see what comes back. So that's it at the moment. I don't feel done with the project in terms of, I feel like it's going to be really difficult for me to let them go because they're like my cubs.
Yeah.
And don't anyone fucking come near us. I get this kind of, my inner child is a Rottweiler coming grown up in King's Cross, but it's just that thing. And even when people ask, can I use the image for this? Can I, you know, I'm just like, oh no, I can't separate us because it's a group, you know, we're standing there together, and I don't like the images to be used outside of the context of the project. But that's kind of my personal thing, you know, like I'm just going to have to get over this at some point.
Yeah. You
But
kiss your
that's where
baby
I'm at
though,
with it.
yeah.
I'm still quite possessive.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're mine, and that's that, you know. And obviously you're going to have to like let them go and let them be their own people at some point. So I've had people say, oh, bring it to Berlin, bring it to the north, bring it to here. But it's like, how? You know, I'm reliant on people seeing it and galleries either saying, oh, we could have this, and then they approach you. So everything's there at the moment. I don't want to just have this and then it's done. I mean, I'm aware that it is a historic document.
Yeah.
And that it is the first time butches and studs, and particularly like the whole issues of class talked about and racism talked about within our identities and what people experience together, you know, as a group. And so it is something I know that will be archived and be referenced in the future. So that's why I want to take care to, you know, have everything kind of in place now, get crates made, you know, there's all sorts of things that's where I'm at now. In terms of other projects, I would love to do like a large format, you know, camera. I'm still always shooting. I'm falling in love with film now. I don't think I could go back to digital.
Film's beautiful though.
And, somebody approached me, a friend of mine, Marlene, and said, listen, I really think you should do something about butches and breast cancer. Because of the relationship with our bodies and our breasts and stuff. And she's like, because she's doing a whole thing in America about Black women and breast cancer. And she's like, listen, I've come across all these kind of issues around butches. And so it's just kind of made me think, okay, that could be something. And if it scares me, it's an indication that I need to go.
You've got to do it, yeah.
So it's like, how am I going to do it? It was like this project. How the fuck am I?
Yeah.
What am I? You know.
100%.
Oh, I can't wait, Roman.
And then you find yourself doing it. And I think
Mm-hmm.
it's overcoming those challenges and obstacles that make you grow as a person. And for me, it's all about reaching others and us. I love the whole thing. I mean, the we us thing is really, I really wanted us to be. That's why when you asked me, I said bring Laura on, bring someone along, because it's not really about me. It's about what we've kind of getting to this thing of how we used to do things in the past. We just used to just get together and do it.
Yeah.
Do you know, it wasn't about, oh, this is me and my individual fame. You were connected and accountable and responsible. And I think the biggest fear for me was I was terrified on the launch because they hadn't seen it.
Oh, that was the first time you've seen it.
And I was like, what are they going to think?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to sound big-headed here, but I didn't know how good it was. Because when I put them on the wall, I put them on the wall myself, I went down. I was like, this is shit.
Wow, really?
It was shit. I was just like, this is shit.
No, not at all.
And so this is where you lose sight.
Yeah.
And so it's just, your response, everybody's response to the work has made me kind of realize, oh my God, this is impacting people. I was there yesterday and somebody started crying. It's like people are talking about it as an emotional experience of intimacy. And it was like, so these are all the things I've learned. It's like, oh, it wasn't something that I intended. I was just trying to get representation in the best way that I could. And yet then it's kind of gone on and having other effects. So that for me is an extraordinary shock and experience, because I've not done a project like this. I'm hesitant to call myself an artist or a photographer. When you've been, in the building industry, and I was a white van driver for 7 years, all through my degree and my master's degree as well. I was working full time as a van driver, and so it's very hard to see myself as like an artist because of the hierarchy of, how people respond to you. It's like there's a hierarchy in what you do for a living, and I don't like it, and I wanted to sort of disband that really. So yeah. Sorry, I feel like I've just
that's
making sense.
No, honestly, like I do encourage everyone to go as
and
well.
see it.
And also, Laura, what's happening with the vlogs? How are the dogs?
Do you know what? This is the scar from the last one. Yeah, no. Do you know what? Vlogging is something I've loved to do from young. Like literally I asked my dad to get me a DSLR camera. Tell a lie. When webcam like Skype and all of that was around, I used to use my laptop to actually film stuff. So I've got some really embarrassing footage of me acting with dolls and things like that. But anyway, I've been vlogging from young. And my first camera was like a camcorder thing. My dad couldn't afford a DSLR. So I was saying to Roman before we started, I actually vlogged my last trip to Nigeria as well in 2016, I think. And I didn't obviously put that out, but when I did this time, I thought, no, I'm gonna just,
it was really funny. It was good.
But I didn't plan it, obviously. It just happened. So for me, I'm all about being my authentic self, just putting myself out there now. It's just so much more easier as well than, putting some sort of facade up. And I've always been quite authentic anyway. So vlogs wise, I mean, whatever I put out is what you guys get. Do you know what I mean? There's no plan.
Keep it coming. I mean, it's funny.
Yeah.
I
and
appreciate that. Your family just seems so wholesome.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Thank you.
They seem really nice and wholesome and together. The house, the family house is giving. The house is really nice. I want to come to Nigeria. I hope you guys open the gate for me.
Space.
I hope the gate man is there.
Yeah. But no, I appreciate that. It was a very, very nice trip.
Yeah.
Much needed, man.
Yeah, you look like you're glowing from there as well.
I just want to go back.
Listen.
Yeah,
are we going to Ghana in December?
We're gonna try.
Yeah. See what you can do.
Yeah, we'll see what we can.
I do want to go Ghana though. That is on my list.
Yeah.
Someone was even asking me, "Oh, you should do Ghana edition." I was like, "Oh,
you should go to Ghana." Do you know what? Have you been to Ghana before?
I haven't.
You got to do December then. I'm over December though, but yeah, you have to do December 1st before you got another time.
Okay.
But thank you both so much for coming.
I appreciate you.
On the
Thank you,
podcast.
Roman, as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's really great.
Thank you, guys.
Absolute honour to be asked, and thank you for coming to the show as well,
Yeah.
and being interested in the work and promoting it.
Yeah, man.
Guys, go and see it. It's
Make
on
sure you
until
go
the
and
3rd of
see it,
June.
You know, even my daughter absolutely loved it. So take your kids. Like,
Oh.
she was like, oh. Because she only thought my friends were like that. She didn't know other people were like that. So she was just like, oh, so. Especially Adobe. She's always like, so there's more than Auntie Adobe. Yeah, there is more than Auntie Adobe. She's like, wow. So she's like, all of them are women. I was like, yeah. She's like, what?
Yeah, it's
And do you know, she didn't know what we were going to. And before, because there's a little trans kid in her class, so she was asking me about that. She was like, can I ask you something? I was like, yeah. She said, someone in my class, when we started in September, they were a boy, but now they're a girl. Like, how does that work? So I was like, this is so interesting that she's asking me this on the way to here. So I explained it to her, and she's like, oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
Bless.
So I just made sure, I was like, is anyone bullying the child? She goes, no. Like, they're she now. That's all they are. Like, and that was so nice.
Yeah.
That was so nice.
You've done a
For us, it
great
wasn't
job
the same.
as well in
Thank
educating
you.
her. And, you know,
Thank
How
you.
old is she?
11. She's 11. Yeah, secondary school, year 7. So she loved it. She loved it.
That's
She
amazing.
even did some clips for her TikTok, but her TikTok is private, so
anything.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But thanks for listening, guys. Make sure you use the hashtag Tutu's podcast and conversation on Twitter. Make sure you rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and like, comment, subscribe, all of that. And until next week, peace.